Many low-income or disabled residents may also be eligible for Medicaid coverage. For more information on depression, treatment costs, and other frequently asked questions, you can visit www.mentalhealthamerica.net.
Hi, I'm Vinny B of the Vinny B Showcase. Tune in every Thursday from 8 to 12 midnight for some solid cultural roots music and some sweet lovers rock. Also, informative interviews and giveaways. Right here on the Vinny B Showcase every Thursday, 8 through 12 midnight on Whcr 90.3 FM. Peace.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Broken homes and families struggle to survive. Children of abuse fight to stay alive. Shattered relationships, no one tries to say. Misunderstanding.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the listening audience. This is Sean Shivers, and I'm back.
And this is Maurice Selby.
Maurice is bugging out right now. What you going through, brother? You know I love you. I haven't seen you in a
I'm
month.
just happy to be here, man.
It's
you
all
know?
good. It's all
It's
good.
a good feeling. And I'm glad to see you back, brother.
Yes. We got. I got to tell you about the experience over in Europe. So it was great. It
That's
was
what's
great.
up. I hope we can share that with all of us at some point. We do have the business at hand, right?
I would love to.
Holiday blues.
So we're talking about holiday blues, and we have why I go blank. We have Miss
Bertha Tolliver.
and she's one of our main social workers at Harlem Hospital Center. And again, our topic is holiday blues. Before we left for the break, we kind of just got into a very deep discussion about, and I'm just being real, about depression, and as I mentioned, it is very high. The statistics are very high in Central Harlem, and they're going to the holiday blues is going to start even getting higher as we get closer to the holiday season. And I want to thank you, because we can really take holiday blues and look at it as a form of grieving as well. But I wanted to know, can you talk about can you talk about the imbalance? Because we were talking about sometimes individuals just may have some type of imbalance as far as depression. Can you talk about that somewhat?
I could somewhat.
Sure. Yeah.
The chemical imbalance is when something in the brain that's not functioning properly. So therefore, the person will need some type of medication to balance the chemical in the brain. So they will need to see a psychiatrist for that, and also a therapist.
Gotcha. So individuals that you have who have come to the hospital and you have had assessed, what percentage would you say is because of something traumatic in their life versus, there's something, wrong with them mentally?
Oh, it's very hard to say.
Gotcha.
Very, very hard to say in terms of what percentage is chemical imbalance and what percentage is basically due to a traumatic event that affect their emotions.
I understand. Yeah. Okay. I got you. I understand that. So let's jump into as far as the family, the community, individuals at home. What are some of the symptoms, or what are kind of things that they can look for in their significant other or their loved ones that may
Be struggling with the mood disorder.
correct, and then they need to get some type of sort of help or assistance?
If you observe any type of mood change that you haven't seen before in an individual, such as the person is sleeping too much, or the person is crying too much, or the person is basically
Eating a lot,
yes,
eating
thank
less.
you.
Yep.
Eating a lot, or eating less, or ignoring you. Something is wrong. What you can do is sit down with a person and find out exactly what's going on, but the person may not be honest with you. Sometimes when the person is depressed, they don't really know themselves whether they depressed or not. So you have to talk to them, or send them to make an appointment for them to see a therapist.
Yes.
Then the therapist will determine whether if something's going on wrong with the person, or is the person just going through a little issues that they could deal with without any therapy. Basically, the best thing to do for the person is to make an appointment for them to see a therapist, and that way the therapist will determine exactly where to go from there.
Yes. I totally agree. I mean, even just from my clinical training now, I'm not a psychiatrist or a behavioral therapist, but this is something that we see quite frequently in the emergency department. And it could even be physical manifestations of this stuff. People with aches and pains, tightness in certain areas of the body. But those are some of the things that we definitely ask about. The changes not only in the mood, does a person seem just more sad than usual, emotionally
More
withdrawn.
Exactly.
But also looking for certain things like those appetite changes, sleep changes, even things that the individual typically loves to do. I think now,
They
right,
stop doing
people love the holidays. Growing up, a lot of people, this is a special time of the year. And for somebody that who used to decorate and go all out cooking and going to parties and being with friends, if that individual all of a sudden changes are you coming to the holiday party this year? Nah, I think I'm gonna just stay in. What are you gonna do inside? You got people coming over? No, I'm just gonna
stay in
I'm just
and
gonna be in.
mope
Okay.
around the house.
Yeah,
Mope
those are
around.
some things that we need to pick up on, I think, in the community. Just changes, drastic changes like that can be indicative of severe disorder in terms of this individual's mood.
Especially with teenagers, you got to be very, very careful with teenagers, because they tend to also cut themselves too when they're depressed. So you have to observe.
When you say cut, you mean like cut them?
Yeah, cut them.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yes, cutting themselves.
Suicidal gestures.
Exactly.
Is there a term for that? That a person who cuts themselves? Is there
Cutters.
Cutters. That's okay. Okay.
So you have to be very careful. Observe them. Look at their arms. Look at if they're walking around the house with shorts and short sleeve. Take a look at them. Observe them very closely. Make sure that everything is okay. You don't see any marks on their bodies.
And I don't want to change the subject, but can we just take 5 seconds, because you just sparked something in my head. An individual who cuts themselves what is the reason? Is there any particular reason behind it? They're trying to feel something. Like, what are they? Can you answer that? Because I'm just curious to know right now, because I don't.
Well, some of them, basically what they do is disguise what they what's going on in their lives.
Got you.
So
Got
feeling the
you.
pain will basically take away the emotions that they are going through.
Yeah, sometimes it's due to, and one thing I think we should preface really quick is that anybody that shows any of these sort of what we call suicidal gestures, so cutting themselves or taking pills or doing anything like that, one, it's very, very serious. And if you do see a family member or a friend or any individual you know doing stuff like that, you should definitely try to refer them to help.
Immediately.
Call, someone, professionals, to
Yes.
get that individual help
Got you.
right away, because we take it very, very seriously.
Exactly.
Now, do some people do this for attention? Yes, some people do it sort of as crying out for help maybe, or, this is one way in which some individuals maybe manifest that they do need or want help getting attention.
Got you.
Can be seen in teenagers in particular, but we don't want you to write it off as that, because these attempts can be real too.
Exactly.
And at that point we go get very serious at screening the individual to see if they are indeed suicidal or even homicidal, which could be very, very serious. And I think we could take a step back actually to talk about holiday blues. When is it just blues, and when is it something more severe, like major depression, for instance, which is a clinical diagnosis and something that needs to be treated with intense therapy, medication necessarily, sometimes even inpatient admission.
So would it be safe to say that if the holiday blues is not treated, or even if the depression is not treated, it leads to suicide?
It can lead to suicide. It definitely could lead.
Can it lead to anything else if untreated?
It can lead to hospitalization. Also, it can lead to many things. The best thing to do is, as soon as you observe that, please take care of it right away. Don't try to handle the situation on your own. Take your child to the emergency room. Let the doctor make the evaluation. Do not make the evaluation on your own.
Got you. So about myths and misconceptions, are there any myths or misconceptions about depression or holiday blues? And like you was assessing a patient and they said, well, I heard that A, B, C, D, and E, and you was kind of like, who told you that? That's not true at all. Can you mention any misconceptions at all?
Well, a lot of people tend to think that if you are sad, you need to be on medication. But that's not true for everyone. Sometimes just talking to the individual will work. It depends on how severe the issue is. But it's not all the time that someone needs to be on medication. Got
you. Anything else that you can think of off the top of your head? Besides the whole medication piece?
In terms of
myths, misconceptions.
So one thing, is this a bad thing necessarily? Because I think we kind of talk about it as, even when I came on, like, I guess, in introducing the subject, like holiday blues. Like, is it something, or there's something wrong with this individual for being sad this time of year?
Some people tend to think that, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
some people tend to think that, just because I'm sad, I'm crazy. Okay, which is not true.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I agree in that.
Everyone suffers from some type of sadness.
Would you say it's normal that during the holidays an individual just wants to be alone and not be bothered?
Yes. Yes. During the holidays, sometimes you don't want to be bothered with certain family members. You just want them to stay away from you.
I feel you.
It depends on how severe it is. If you just don't want anybody to be around you, then that's a different story. But if it's like a certain individual that's like a pain, and you just want that person to stay away, or when the person come over, you just go to your room. That way you won't have to be bothered with that particular person.
They bring drama to the scene and all of that
Sometimes
stuff.
you don't want to deal with the drama.
Right.
So that's, I guess you're saying that's one of the myths, and that is that, everybody doesn't have to be happy during this time, and it's nothing wrong to say,
You have
I'm
to
really not
accept it.
happy during this time. I lost family members during this time.
You got to be realistic. You have to.
And put it like this: even though you have fun, even though you have a lot of fun at those holiday gatherings, some days you just be ready. Some holidays you just be like, "What or why am I?" Because like with me, sometimes it's like, okay, I got an hour or two max. Let me make my plate. I'm out before it starts.
For real, Sean?
Before it starts, it's about to start right now. You're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. We're going to take a quick break right now. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can hit us off at 212-650-6903. That's 212-650-6903. You're going to take this quick break, and we will be right back.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Today, you hit the snooze bar. You checked your email. You checked your fantasy football team. You rejected an insulting trade offer. You ate your lunch. You did all the things that one normally does the day before a 175-mile-per-hour hurricane blows through your city, leaving it in a state of ruin. You never know when the day before is the day before. Prepare for tomorrow at ready.gov/today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
On the next episode of Recipes for Disaster.
So we've got our neighbor Paul coming over tonight for a barbecue, which is why I prepared a delicious lemon rosemary steak marinade from my special collection of old family recipes. To make sure the steaks are extra, extra, extra tender, I left them marinating out on the counter overnight, just like Nana used to.
Maria may mean well, but without food safety, it never ends well. Always thaw or marinate foods in the refrigerator at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below, or you could make your friends and family really sick. Maria's neighbor Paul didn't think twice about the steak he ate until he was presenting his company's financial forecast to the board. That's when a sudden bout of food poisoning made it explicitly clear that profits weren't the only thing on the rise. Watch Recipes for Disaster at foodsafety.gov. You'll learn the right steps as Maria does everything wrong. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Vinny B of the Vinny B Showcase. Tune in every Thursday from 8 to 12 midnight for some solid cultural roots music and some sweet lovers rock. Also, informative interviews and giveaways. Right here on the Vinny B Showcase every Thursday, 8 through 12 midnight on Whcr 90.3 FM. Peace.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Yes, you have to have healing. This is Sean Shivers, and you're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM, New York, the voice of Harlem. And I'm sorry, Mo.
No, it's all good. And this is Maurice Selby.
Yes, I got to get used to. I'm not.
Usually I'm
not
first
used to
and then
that.
Sean a second. But
Correct.
switch it up a
It's
little
all good. And we have.
Bertha Talifer.
Yeah, she's one of our social workers at Harlem Hospital Center, and our topic is coping with the holidays, depression, holiday blues. And Mo, can you just give us a quick summary of what we spoke about last time, last segment?
Yeah. So we were talking about some of the concerning signs and symptoms or things to look out for regarding the holiday blues, and I think one thing right away that we said was that this is not necessarily something to be considered totally abnormal, and that some individuals, one, just might not like the holidays, especially the commercial fiasco that it has become in recent years, but also maybe the individual lost family members during this time. Maybe they just don't like dealing with family members or people during this time. So there's nothing wrong with people just feeling, the sun is going down earlier, they're sleeping more, eating more. This is just something that happens this time of year. But some things to look out for is if the individual's behavior changes significantly. So if they're sleeping way more than usual, or sleeping less, not sleeping at all, not eating or eating too much, not interested in things that they love to do typically, and also if they say that, or maybe they feel guilty about something that has occurred in the past or recently. So these are things to really look out for that could be red flags, especially if you see multiple of those things. They start to do any suicidal gestures that we were talking about, or even just dangerous behavior, increased substance abuse, things like that. Look out for those signs, especially if the individual just wasn't into that stuff before and they're doing these things now. That could be concerning.
Gotcha. So thanks for that summary, man.
Good memory.
Helping out.
Got you. So can we talk about the services that are offered at Harlem Hospital Center? So can you give us a detail as far as
Sure.
services offered?
We have an outpatient adult program where basically if someone needs therapy, they will go there and make an appointment. And once they make an appointment, they will assess the situation and then assign them to a psychiatrist and a therapist. We also have an outpatient outpatient children clinic. Is for young children. I'm sorry, it's for children, ages from, I believe, from 3, maybe a little bit younger, if I'm not
3.
mistaken, to 18 years old.
I mean, I don't mean to cut you off.
Uh-huh.
An individual can be 3 and
Oh,
depressed.
yes,
Why? How?
yes,
Why?
yes.
Can you elaborate on
Yes.
that?
It depends on if you see how the child is acting. Of course, the medical doctor has to be the one who called the clinic to refer the child. Yes, the child could be 3.
So
and
is
depressed.
it because of what they observe? They're in the home abuse.
It can be, yes.
I never thought about that. 3. But I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you
It's
off.
okay.
Continue. So finish telling us about the services offered at the hospital.
Yes. We have child psychiatry, which is for kids who are suffering from some type of depression or some type of mental illness. And for the adult, we also have a substance abuse program. In addition with the depression, we have basically if you need this type of therapy, you have to come in and make an appointment with the psychiatrist make an appointment with the psychiatrist, and then you will be seen and be assessed.
Yeah. Oh no. I think that's actually the point that we're trying to make tonight, right? All of us in that. Sometimes we got to know when an individual needs that help and that referral, and it's looking out for some of those signs as before, especially if it's impacting the person's life. Before, this person was super productive, very energetic, an active person. Now they're not that active, then this person might need professional help and needs those referrals to see a professional. Sometimes, I mean, for most people going through just typical blues, even holiday blues, as long as it's a transient thing, right, and it resolves after this period, and 2, as long as they're not showing those severe symptoms, especially withdrawal and things like that, then they might need very little professional help. Maybe it's just speaking to a friend, having somebody to support them to get through that period, and checking on them regularly to make sure that they're not manifesting some of those other things that we talked about, the sleepiness and not eating and not being themselves. Then they, if they're still carrying on with their day-to-day responsibilities, just feeling a little blah, they'll get through it.
But if the symptoms prolong, that's when you seek immediate attention.
So from saying all of that, so would you say as far as one of the treatments is getting the person out of the house and putting them in an atmosphere where there's other individuals and it's a lot of good vibes going on? Is that like a treatment, would you say?
Well, sometimes when a person is depressed, you try to get them out of the house, have them do more activities, walk around the block or join the gym or be around other people that will kind of like decrease the sadness or depression. It really depends. If you basically get the person out the house and have them join activities, and if you don't see that work, then you go further in terms of the treatment.
Now, from my experience, I know that during the holiday season, especially individuals who are in the hospital, individuals who are basically patients in the hospital on the units, individuals in the psych area, because they're in the hospital and
Locked
they can't
in.
leave, an individual can get depressed as well. So how do you assist patients in that
those settings,
situation?
yeah.
And that's
Well, contact family members. Ask them to come and visit them. But some of them do not have family members. So what we do is, as social workers or staff, we'll go to the patient's room and talk to them. We also provide them individual therapy that will also help them while they are inpatient.
And this is where I think the community comes in too, because those little gestures or seemingly little gestures,
The
people
volunteers and all of
volunteers
that,
coming in to
those-
sing Christmas carols or to do different things, you know, give out candy canes and or just be with these individuals, reading to them or just interacting with them, somebody for them to talk to. That can make a big difference.
Have you seen the clowns at Harlem Hospital?
I was
They
just
got
about to say
they got
that.
these two clowns at Harlem Hospital.
They are
And
hilarious.
they do everything in their power to try to make you laugh. I haven't seen them in a minute, but I see them during the holiday season. So do they come up to, like, instead of just going to pediatrics, do they go to other areas in the
They
hospital?
go to child psych outpatient, and also they also have holiday parties for the patients too, which they love. They have activities where it involves music, dancing, different type of activities to elevate their mood.
Yeah, I was just thinking about them because sometimes, I'm in the hospital. I'm focused on trying to get
Get to your
someplace.
floor.
And they be like, "Why are you so serious?" I'm like, "What are you talking? Why are you so serious? Smile." And I'm like, "I am smiling." "No, you're not." And so they start messing around with you. But they're hilarious though. I want to go back for 1 second. You was talking about crying.
Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
You was talking about crying. Why would now? You said that you would ask the patient how many times do they cry. How many times is too much?
How many times is too much? Basically, if you crying constantly, nonstop,
Without
or
a
if you-
reason?
Yes. Or if you stop, but then next 5 minutes continue to cry again for no reason. I mean, for us, it's for no reason, but for them, I'm sure there's a reason behind it. So basically, like, again, you just assess the situation. Why are you crying? What's the issue? Is there maybe somebody passed away in the family? Maybe they lost a job, or maybe they lost their house. Just assess the situation, and you'll learn more about the patient.
Got you.
And just a more like precise definition, I guess, or at least precise time period to look out for. And this is for all of those things: crying, the lack of energy, the lack of interest,
appetite.
lack of appetite, sleeping. 2 weeks is sort of the definitive cutoff.
2
right?
weeks.
As far as the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, right? The newest one that came out, the DSM-5. 2 weeks is sort of the cutoff for these systems to be persistent. We're talking about every day for 14 days, an individual that's manifesting these type of symptoms, that withdrawal, the lack of interest, lack of sleep, or sleeping too much, all of these things. If you see this going on for 2 weeks, these should raise some flags in your head, and that individual will probably need an evaluation by a medical professional or someone in mental health, a mental health professional.
Interesting. Thank you very much. You're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. We're going to take our last break. Yes, we're going to take our last break. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you want to hit us off and say hello, hit us off at 212-650-6903. That's 212-650-6903. We're going to take our last and final break. We'll be right back.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Depression is a common mental disorder characterized by sadness, loss of interest or pleasure, feelings of guilt or low self-worth, lack of sleep or appetite, feelings of tiredness, and poor concentration. According to current mental health data, African American adults are 20% more likely to report serious psychological distress. A new study published by the National Institutes of Health says almost half of all Americans will develop some form of mental illness during their lifetime, and that many of those diagnosed first experience symptoms during their adolescent years. Adult blacks are more likely to have feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness than adult whites. According to the Huffington Post, historical experiences and institutionalized racism can lead to higher rates of depression amongst blacks. Not only are African Americans more likely to suffer from depression, they are also less likely to seek treatment or counseling. Only 31% of African Americans believe that depression is a health problem. Barriers to the treatment of depression, according to some African Americans, include denial, embarrassment or shame, and lack of money or insurance. When African Americans do, however, seek medical advice for their health concerns, they are less likely to receive treatment. According to the Office of Minority Health, only 6.2% of adult blacks versus 13.9% of adult whites received medications for mental health concerns during 2008. According to Mental Health America, the first step in addressing concerns of depression is to talk to your doctor, who may recommend a physical checkup to find out if there is any underlying cause for the depressive symptoms. If clinical depression is diagnosed, then your physician or health maintenance organization will refer you to a mental health specialist such as a psychiatrist, psychologist, pastoral counselor, or social worker. If you are over 65 years old, Medicare pays for 50% of the cost of mental health treatment, and Medigap insurance will typically reimburse the remainder. Many low-income or disabled residents may also be eligible for Medicaid coverage. For more information on depression, treatment costs, and other frequently asked questions, you can visit www.mentalhealthamerica.net.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Yes, this is Sean Shivers.
And this is Maurice Donovan Selby.
And you're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And we have my girl,
Bertha Tolliver.
Yeah, she's one of the social workers at Harlem Hospital. And our topic today is coping with the holiday blues. But Mo, you have an announcement for us?
Very quickly. Yes, I do. On Saturday, November 14th at Harlem Hospital Center in conjunction with the Smaltz Foundation, they will host their second annual Alzheimer's Caregivers Symposium. As many of us know, and we've talked about this in the past, Alzheimer's impacts the African American population at twice the rate of the general population. And when it hits, emotional, financial, and legal implications can be overwhelming for the family that is supporting this individual. This event will empower caregivers to learn about resources available to them from leading state officials and experts in the field. Registration begins at 8 a.m. and the event goes from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Once again, Saturday, November 14th, the Alzheimer's Caregivers Symposium at Harlem Hospital Center. And for more information, again, this event is free too. We need to get that out there.
I love that word, free.
However, seating is limited. So it is important that you call and register, or you could do it online actually at www.smaltz.foundation. That's SMALTZ Foundation, all one word, .org. Or you can call 347-949-8820. All right. So please pass this information on. And we also have
same thing.
The caregiver, yes.
It's also the same thing.
We want to announce the farmers market year-round. This is going down.
Yes.
8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every Friday at Harlem Hospital Center. Actually, it's right there out front of Harlem Hospital.
And I see more people.
Where they have the farmers market. So definitely check this out. And that's sponsored by Harvest Home. So you want to be there and support our local growers. But
please
get
do.
Some fresh fruits, vegetables. They take everything from cash to SNAP, EBT, WIC checks, all of that stuff.
We barter, we do anything.
Yeah. Credit cards, debit cards, however you probably can barter.
Yes.
Might as well
you better say it with a straight face. You better barter.
For real, man.
It's all good. It's all good. So we had a very interesting conversation, especially at the start of the holiday season. holiday blues, coping with the holidays, depression. So right now, for the last 5 minutes, I just want to summarize for people who came on late. Can we just summarize, what depression is, what holiday blues is, symptoms, what to look for? Just run it all down for us. You.
Oh. Miss Oliver.
Our guest.
Sorry.
She's looking like, who? Me?
Holiday blues. Holiday blues occurs during the holidays. Basically, we have Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. That's when people feel sad. Basically, not doing the ordinary things, the normal things that they normally do when it's not a holiday. They isolate themselves from other people. They sometimes have little energy, cries, or lack of sleep, lack of appetite, no energy, like I said before, ignoring things such as cooking for their family, not taking care of their kids. Basically, they just don't have energy to do none of these things at all.
And what are some of the as far as the treatments?
The treatment can be numerous things. The treatment can be basically just have them surrounded by other people, take them out for a walk, encourage them to eat right, healthy, activities. And if you don't see these things are working for them, you could take it further by having them assessed by a mental health professional. Take them to a clinic, get them assessed to determine how severe the depression is, whether they need maybe a little bit of medication or no medication or just therapy.
Sounds good. And what are the type of services that they offer at Harlem Hospital?
Harlem Hospital offer an outpatient adult clinic and child psych for little ones until 18 years old. They will determine, when you come in, they will determine which category that you fall in. Do you fall into the child psych or adult? So basically what you need to do, you could call the number.
Yes, what's that number?
You could call the main number, which is 212-939-1000. That's the main number, and ask them to connect you to the outpatient clinic, mental health clinic.
Yes. And I just want to shout out Valerie Wright and Nancy Simmons, because they briefed us so well in their preparation of our show notes, and just some of the wonderful things that they put on here as far as tips. One thing, we don't always need medications, right? And I think just as Ms. Tolliver was saying, like just talking to somebody, if you're feeling this way and you acknowledge those feelings, that's one thing that they point out to us. Acknowledging those feelings is very important. And if you are an individual, you're feeling this, you're feeling the stress of the holidays, you're feeling isolated and lonely, reach out to someone and maybe get a little bit out of that comfort zone. You might want to go and attend some social events, volunteer in the community. That could definitely bring your spirits up a little bit. But also being very cognizant of exactly what might be causing it. If it's due to the stress of the holidays, you get depressed from seeing those credit card bills when they come in. Oh my goodness. Or you see it racking up as you're doing your shopping and stuff. Maybe setting limits. Also, if it's maybe due to substances, limiting the intake of those things as well, because that could definitely alter our feelings and moods as well. So just being aware of what might be triggering these things, and reaching out to the best supports that you have, whether it's coworkers, family, close friends. Sometimes you need somebody to confide in that's not close to you, just that objective voice.
Correct. Correct.
That, someone that you trust and that you feel like you can confide in, to let them know what's going on, and they can give you feedback that could really help out.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you, Mo. So, Miss Talifer, that's it, right? Talifer.
Yes, it is.
So Miss Talifer, out of everything that we spoke about today, and again, thank you for dropping this knowledge to the community. What would you say is the most important thing that a listening audience should get out of this conversation?
What is the most important things? Being aware of your friends, families, when they are depressed or feeling sad. Just watch them carefully and be aware. That's the main thing that I would love everybody to have knowledge of. Take a look at your friends. See if there's any changes in your friends. Take a look at your family members, your sisters or brothers. Take a look at them. See if they have altered mood. Has anything changed with them? Have you noticed anything different about them? If you do, you could please assist them. If they don't want the help, try to convince them to get the help.
Got you. And also, and what's that number again that individuals can call if they wanted more information or just the assistance?
You can call the main number, which is 212-939-1000, and ask them to transfer you to the mental health clinic.
Excellent. Once again, I want to thank you very much for coming on to the show.
Yes.
You did excellent. You did very well. And I want to give a shout out to my girl Ayana Cole, wherever she is at. Missed you. I got your T-shirt for you, so I make sure I give that to you next week. I also want to say a thank you to my boy Mo very, very much. And what's going on next week?
And next week, ladies and gentlemen, tune in to Health in Harlem, of course, 7 p.m. every Thursday. Next week, November 12th, we have a wonderful topic for you, what to know about diabetes. And we actually have Nancy Simmons coming in to share that
Nancy's
information with us.
Yeah. Not Dr. Truesdale. Nancy's coming in. So you said Dr. Truesdale coming on the show.
What to know about diabetes. Very, very important show, especially coming up with the holiday season. All those sweets and
excellent
things that are going to be floating
all the
around.
yummies.
You got to be very aware of that stuff so we can minimize complications.
Got you. And I want to say a thank you and give a shout out to my girl Valerie Wright and also Nancy Simmons. They're the producers of the show. And without them, we would not have great guests like Miss Talifer come on to the show. And please make sure you tune in next week. And this show is dedicated in memory of Miss Gloria Thomas. And Harlem, I want to thank you very much. Take care. Enjoy yourself. See you next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Righteous. Can't you see the sign of the time we're living in?